What's up everybody, I hope you're all doing well and having a good day. Welcome to another video. Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker Part 3. So first off, I'm going to get the spoiler warning out real quick. This contains spoilers for the Endwalker MSQ from level 84 to the end of 86. And if you've played that far, you know this one's going to be a wild one, so let's get straight into it. So spoiler warning out the way. The last episode finished, we beat the trial, we beat Zodiac, and we were on the moon. And I'm going to be honest, where the level 83 MSQ ended with that trial, I thought that was going to be the very end of the entire expansion. I thought the entire expansion would have ended like that. But it turns out it's a completely different story they want to tell. They want to tell the story of, you know, you take down Zodiac and he was the only thing preventing the end of the world. So with him gone and Fandaniel's plan in place, as the trailer told us, the final days are upon us. And I guess that's the direction going from here, is whatever happened to the ancients, to the Amratines, the Unsundered people, is with Zodiac gone, is now happening to us, and we need to find a way to stop it. I guess. And my smooth tiny brain kind of understood this. I found it quite complicated, but I kind of understood it as where the ether is weakest, is where the calamities first started, and that was kind of our first lead. But this whole thing was definitely confusing to me. Maybe I'm not the smartest. So we've just defeated Zodiac in one of the coolest and most epic trials in the entire game. Zodiac defeated, Fandaniel's plan come to fruition. The Watcher sends us to the dark side of the moon to understand Heidelin's plan and to understand what's going to happen next, who's going to help us, who are our allies, and what's the plan to save the world from here. What ancient and superior being will save our star from destruction and save us from the end of days?
Our time has come, my friends!
I mean, I wasn't expecting this. This was the wildest and weirdest tangent that I could ever have imagined. And I guess they use this as like a light, humorous moment to break up all of the serious and final endy kind of stuff. And I get why they did it. It was very weird and it was very unusual, but it was once you got over like, okay, this isn't something super serious. This is just a fun area. It was fun. But yeah, the first impression of it was like, what the hell is this? What the hell is even this? But there was a lot of fun stuff here on like how they designed the pods to be as big as the ancients, which was too big, and how they only had carrots as the food source. There was a lot of humor here. It was good. It reminded me a lot of when you go to the dwarfs in Shadowbringers, how they're made to be very fun. And I think it's the same thing here, which I also think I think a lot of people think this as well. This is going to end up being like a crafting beast tribe because, you know, they're all about making clothing and food and preparing for the end of the world, I guess. Maybe even a gathering tribe. I guess we saw those in Shadowbringers as well. So it could be that, but I feel like that's what these are going to end up being. And I think it'll be quite fun. I do think it's going to be fun. And then Urianger is a character that I never really got on with. Until the middle of Shadowbringers, I didn't like him. I really couldn't. I found him a little sneaky. I didn't trust him. And he never really opened up. He always seemed a bit robotic to me. And I never got on with him. And then that moment where he kind of breaks down and shows his humanity. It's like he finally trusts you. And he apologizes for keeping Graha's secret. And he said, you know, I'll never lie to you again. That moment, I switched from don't trust him, don't really like him, to absolutely love him. It was like it justified all his past decisions, and it wasn't like he was just doing what he wants because he doesn't care what people think. He does, and he's willing to have people not trust him. Like at one point, Aladze was completely untrustworthy of him. He was willing for people not to trust him. He was willing to be an outcast and do things that are going to make people hate him if it is for the greater good, if it saves lives, if it protects the people around him, which is his job as a scion. And I just think it makes him such an incredible character that it took them all these years to make him like, to give him that arc. I know I've been playing over this for 6 months, so it's a lot faster for me, but he's just such an incredibly written and fantastic character that this scene, I got really emotional. I found this incredible. I'm not sure if anybody else found this whole scene so touching, but Yeah, for me, this whole scene, just alone with Urianger on the moon, being able to open up and talk freely about the past and the future, was just beautiful. I loved it. I really, really, one of my favorite scenes in Endwalker so far. And talking about amazing scenes so far, this was incredible. Where you go back to Charlian and you look up at the moon, and you prepare. It's kind of like your last night before the end of the world starts. And what made this scene even better is I can't believe they did this. They let you pick a scion, like your favorite scion, to like bring into the room and chat to on like it felt like the eve of the end of the world, like the final night of solace before pure chaos. And you got to choose who you wanted to chat to before it all went wrong. And I thought this was phenomenal. I'd love to know in the comments like who you chose and why. Maybe they were just like your favorite scion. I'd love to know what everybody picked here. Even if you don't normally leave comments, if you just let me know who you picked, I'm really intrigued what everybody went with. For me, my favorite scion has for a long time has been Alizé. Ever since Stormblood, Alizé's been my favorite scion. There's a lot of moments in the story where there's like heavy politics or there's a lot of world building, and I struggle. I kind of lose interest a little bit because I've just got a short attention span. And whenever Alizé's there, she'll chirp in with, "This is boring, let's move on," or "Enough of the politics, let's get back to fighting." And she's just so direct, and I can just relate so well to the character that it's just nice to relate to that personality. And then I think at the end of Stormblood, I think 4.0, there is that moment where she goes, "Whatever happens, just don't let me go." And then she gets the call right at the end. And I was so upset when I thought that you were going to lose her, because you never knew where you were going, like in Shadowbringers. So yeah, I was really sad there. And ever since then, I've known that Alizé was my favorite character. So this was such a good fan service, and I think it's just incredible that they did this. I'd love to know in the comments though who you picked and like why they're your favorite. I think there's going to be a lot of people who pick Graha here after what happened in Shadowbringers. Also, for those that don't know, apparently you can go to the inn and you can pick the different options. So watch everybody else if you want to see them all. For me, I want it to feel like my action had consequence, so I had to pick one, and I only get to see one, so I'm only going to watch Alizé. But if you want to watch the others, go for it. Once I finish Endwalker, I'm going to go back and watch them all, because I think this is just such an amazing idea that they put in. Hope you enjoyed that moment, because the world is on fire and everyone's dying. This took me right back to Hapiness Switch. You're running through a burning village and everyone's running away from these aberrations, these monsters. It was crazy. This was so good. This was such a cool, and it was a mixture of Hapiness Switch meets Amarok at the end of Shadowbringers. This was so good, and it was the first time I think you really got to see these blasphemies. Very, very eerie and creepy looking monsters. I'd say these are creepier than the light monsters from Shadowbringers. And then the mechanics were really good as well. So this was the first boss, the Terminus Snatcher, and you had to go through these like closed mouths. Mouths? Is there a plural for mouth? Mouths? You had to find the closed mouth anyway. Yeah, really cool. And as you're doing it, he puts his arm in the air and like smashes half the board as well. So yeah, this was really interesting. I thought it was a cool mechanic. And then the final boss was really good as well. It feels like in Endwalker, they've made every dungeon boss feel like a trial. Like they've somehow made the dungeon bosses feel as epic as a trial. I felt that way at the end of the last dungeon where you get to Anima, and it felt like a trial at the end. And this felt the same. This boss didn't just feel like a normal dungeon boss. It felt kind of epic and on a different scale. Maybe it's because it's new, I don't know, but I thought this was incredible. This dungeon definitely up there with one of the better ones. And then it was onto the level 85 MSQ area, which was all around Radzahan and Favnir. And you meet up with the chief fish seller himself, which was a pretty cool callback to an earlier character. But I'm gonna be honest, as good as this area was and how well written it was, I just felt sad. I know it's good. It was a good part of the game, but I just felt sad for this entire section. Like, genuinely in the pit of my stomach, sad. And it just went from bad to worse. You go around with Mattia looking for a woman and baby, and everyone around you starts falling into despair, and as one person dies, it has a knock-on effect, and another person falls into despair and they turn into these beasts, and everyone around you's turning into monsters, and it's all just sad and depressing, and it was awful. It was incredible, like, as a story, but I felt so sad. I think there's I think there's a massive callback here to like mental health and about staying, like Graha gives the speech and it's about staying positive when everything around you is going wrong. And I think the message is amazing, but I can't help but just leaving this area feeling incredibly sad. The peak of the sadness definitely hit here as Matsuya's running with the baby and he's falling apart and the baby starts like disintegrating and he's losing his ether as well and he's turning and then he can't hold it together and he's turning. And at the time I was just silent playing this. I played it on stream and I was just silent. I was just genuinely not having a good time. I was too sad. But I didn't really, I kind of held it together. Watching this back to edit it, I just feel sick. It was just so hard. It was a great story, and then what happened with Estinian, but it was hard. It was hard to play through this. It was really hard. I'd love to know in the comments how you handled this. Did you find it as hard as I did, or was it just it's just another part of the story, or did this hit you as hard as me? Because I don't know, this felt really, really rough. This was a really, really rough area to get through. I'd take a day off after playing this bit. So yeah, I just had to kind of spend a little time just chilling out and chatting to some friends and listening to the relaxing, calming music of Charlian for a little while because, yeah, the story was getting heavy. And then I went and checked out how the crafting works. I think they handled the crafting very well in Endwalker. It feels very smooth. So I've got a culinary around 80, so I went and unlocked the studium deliveries, which is pretty cool. You have like esteem and you hand in a few things every few levels and you upgrade your esteem level, and it's kind of like you tell the story and you progress the story for that job. So like I did alchemist / culinarian. I thought this was pretty cool. You get scripts as well for doing this to get gear if you've not got the gear. Yeah, pretty cool system, and it saves you spending so much time doing like field levies or trade levies. So yeah, this was a pretty cool system. I think I'm still a bit of a crafting novice, but I've never been end game crafting. Like as soon as I hit the end of Shadowbringers, Endwalker came out, so I look forward to getting my teeth stuck in with this and getting all the crafters up a little bit. I'm a huge fan of crafting this game. I think it's a great part of the game that you can just lose days of your life to. And then after a day of building up the courage to go back to the MSQ, I was also playing my summoner. So I leveled summoner from 80 to 86 just by like grinding world fates and spamming dungeons. I got the Vespati, I can't remember what it's called, Venice, the level 85 dungeon. I got the full, well, almost the full set of caster gear. I think it looks really cool, really fitting with Thanvir as well. So I thought I'd play my summoner in the MSQ for a little bit as well. The summoner changes are crazy. If you've not played summoner, I think now's a great time to get into it because it's really fun. It's a lot less complicated. There's no dots, and it's just a very straightforward rotation where you're just always summoning primals. You're always summoning something. You're always doing like a big flashy move, and there's still a bit of complexity of when to use what primal. So I think it's in a great place. I think it needs a little work in certain areas, but it's really fun. I've been having a blast with it. So yeah, I thought I'd play Primal for the Primal. I thought I'd play Summoner for a little bit for the MSQ now, and then just switch it up between this and Paladin to the end. We got called a good egg, which was fun, and then unlocked the role quests. So yeah, the role quests this time seem to be about the city-states and how they deal with the blasphemies and the outbreaks compared to each other, rather than being about the Warriors of Light, the Warriors of Darkness. So yeah, how do you feel about the change? I think it's very interesting. It's still dealing with like a big topic, and I think there's a lot of stuff they can tell in the different city-states. I've not even took the first quest yet, so I've got no idea what they're about, but I'd love to know how you feel. Like, do you reckon this is a good thing to base the role quests off? If you tried them, are they decent? I've got no clue. I've not heard much about them. It's still very early days for people to be getting through these, but I'm interested. One good thing, they've split the physical DPS into melee physical and ranged physical. I think that's a great change because I did it as a samurai in Shadowbringers, and you played as a bard, which was kind of strange. So I think it's good they've split those up. It doesn't mean I have to level a ranged physical, but I still think it's a good change. So there's five role quests to do, which is good. I think the role quests are incredible. If you haven't done the Shadowbringers role quests, like all of them, I would definitely recommend it because the quest you get at the end, once you've done them all, there's like one quest at the end that brings them all together. and there's some insane Warrior of Darkness lore in there that I highly recommend, or just go watch it on YouTube because it's really, really good. It's really worth doing. So I'm looking forward to doing all of these ones as well, but got to level some characters first. Definitely not going to happen for a long time. And then, if anyone around here watched my Endwalker predictions video that came out a few days before Endwalker, one of my big predictions that we hadn't seen the last of the Ascians, and that the one that was definitely most likely not to be dead was Elidibus, because it didn't look like he was killed. It looked like he was trapped in the tower, and if we ever needed him, we could go find him. And lo and behold, we had to go find Elidibus in the tower. I mean, I'm not gonna brag because every other prediction in that video was completely wrong, completely wrong. But yeah, if you throw enough, if you throw enough darts at the wall, one of them will hit the target, right? I've heard a lot of people saying that Endwalker is better than Shadowbringers, and for me, you'll never top Shadowbringers because it was perfect. It was a 10 out of 10. It was flawless. The Emmett story, the Ascian story, everything that happened in Amarot was everything I ever wanted from this game. It was perfect, and you can never top that. So for me, right up until this point, Endwalker was nowhere near as good as Shadowbringers. It was a good story, but it was nothing like Shadowbringers. And then how do they do it?
Just a few tasks.
How do they do it? Not only do they give you more Emmett, they take you back to the pre-unsundered Emmett and Hyclodius, and you get to go around that zone, that world. I had butterflies in my stomach for this entire stream, and playing through this was.
Surely you can tell who we are.
I'm still a little speechless. This happened yesterday, and I still haven't quite processed it. Oh, goosebumps. And the music! Oh, it's incredible. This area is perfection. This is the best area in the entire game. This is the best area, the best story, the best zone. It's perfect. This was just Square Enix. Round of applause. I don't know how you did it. I don't know how you did it. Everything I personally would ever have wanted from a story, from a zone, from a game is here. The zone was beautiful. Creation magic's gone wild, like a training camp, like an observatory, laboratory type situation for the Unsundered to test their creation magics, which is kind of what they were talking about and leading to a little bit in Amarot. Breathtaking as well. The view. Emma, Hyclodius, Hermes. I still can't come to terms with it, and I've still got more of this zone to do. Yeah, I still need to finish this zone. I've only done up to 87. I finished 86, so I've still got loads more of this to do. But wow. So I haven't finished this area, so I can't talk about this zone fully. But I'll just start some topics, and then I'll cover it more in the next video. But there's clearly something huge about this flower power, the power of the ability to sense emotions that the flower can do, and that this girl can do, this bird girl that Hermes has created, and that he's sent out into the stars and the solar system and to all the planets. There's something huge there, and I was leading to it when I finished, but it was like 2 a.m. so I had to stop. But it was leading in that direction, and it was really building to something interesting. But I haven't finished the zone, so I don't know where it goes. So I'm not going to talk about it too much. But that's clearly the one. I think that's the most important thing about stopping the apocalypse, is understanding this emotion ether type thing, because it's like the most of the world is made up of this other ether that only Hermes knew about, or that he was the only one that specialized in it. That seems the key to being here. It was just so incredible to speak to like Hyclodius and Emma in this state where they were still uncorrupted by, I mean, well, I don't want to say tempered, but I don't know, they hadn't had the end of the world, and they weren't burnt by what happened in the past, and there was no mystery around it. They were just living their beautiful and perfect lives where everything was just like a utopia, and you got to hang out with them in this incredible world. It was just magical. It really was. This Elpis is just my favorite area. I feel like I'm just going to spend my entire time here until the next expansion. I also think we're going to see some sort of time. This is another prediction. I think we're going to see some sort of time messery going on. I think there's going to be some sort of time issue. Some sort of, because Hythlodius calls you old friend, my new old friend on the moon, I think. On the moon. And then in Amarot, maybe, I think. I can't remember. Somewhere he calls you his new old friend. And I think that's because he's met you here. I think it's because he's met you in the past, that in the future he calls you new old friend. And I think like Emma, and it's going to tie into everything. And my brain's still kind of trying to put it together because it was so recently. But I feel like there's going to be some Shadowbringers Graha level of time manipulation. Hopefully not too hard to follow. And then yeah, Hermes as well seems very, very interesting. Hermes is he seems like a very good guy who's like a lover of all creatures. He's got a problem with how they do things, how they bring creatures here, test them, delete them, and just start again. He thinks all life's valued, and he has trouble, and he won't put down the creatures. He wants to try everything until they get a chance at life. I think he's a very interesting character, so I'm excited to see where this zone ends up, but I've only played it halfway. I've only played to the end of 86. So I'm loving it. I'm nervous, and I'm excited. So yeah, it's safe to say that the MSQ has got its claws deep into me, and it's not letting go. And you should expect the next video, part 4, not too far away, because I am itching to finish this zone and get to the end, and then it's going to be like level 88. There's not much left, right? It's been a whirlwind. I've not been able to put this down. I'm loving every minute of this MSQ. I feel like I've been playing it for a few days, but it's been like a week and a half now. It's a phenomenal story, so I can't wait to play more. But I'm probably going to wrap this one up here, because like I say, I've not finished it, but I wanted to get this video out because I've covered so much from like the earlier stuff as well, so I wanted to put it all into one and just get it all up to date, because that's where we are. So I'm going to wrap this one up here. The next one will start from the level 87 quests in Elpis. I think it's still here. The level 87 quests are going to be here as well. So yeah, that's where we'll carry on from. Thank you so much for coming to these videos. If you've been here since part 1, if you've been here for 6 months, either way, somewhere in between, thank you so much for coming to these videos. If you like this video and you're enjoying the series, dropping a like helps me out so much. And even leaving a comment helps me out with my own mysterious and strange creature that should never have left Elpis. It should have been scratched down and restarted. The YouTube algorithm. But yeah, I'm really curious what your favorite Scion was. Who did you pick to spend the last day with before the end of the world? I'm really curious on that one, so drop a comment down there. It helps me out a ton, and I like reading them. Other than that, take care, have a great day. If you're just ahead of me, I hope you enjoy the ending. I'm looking forward to it myself. If you finished it, how are you doing? Are you okay? Are you good? Other than that, take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.